This is the first time I have been back in 75 years, and I'm thrilled to be here. An interesting incident, just before I joined up with the 6th Armored Division, I was sitting in the back of a Jeep going to join. Both sides zero in on a curve of the road. We came to a curve of the road and it started getting shelled. Everyone else jumped out and got to the ditches, but I didn't know I was supposed to. So I sat there and watched, and do you know, those big heavy shells, you can watch them go through the air and land and explode, as long as they don't come too close. I didn't know they were that slow. I was one of the youngest people in the United States soldier in World War II. I had just turned 18. I was very much an introvert, and I learned very quickly, if you're an introvert going into combat, you have a choice of two things. You can either grow up fast or die. And I was very fortunate. I grew up fast. I don't remember names. I don't remember anyone's name at all. Even in tough times when I had 2 replacements with me, I have no idea who they were. I wish I did, but I don't. I had an incident happen. It wasn't at the Bulge. It was in Germany. And I was in recon, and we led the columns, but we're moving to a different location. We came to a T, and I stayed at that spot to catch any stragglers and make sure they turned the proper direction. When they were finished, I put the pedal to the metal and took off like a big bird flying low. When we turned to go out into an open field, I didn't know that the rest of the column had been fired on from that village ahead of me and had gone back up into the woods. And I just barreled on down toward the village, completely Nazi held. We got close to the first building, and I commented to the other 2 guys, look at that knocked out German tank and the kids playing on it. When the turret started turning around towards us, I said, oops, that's not knocked out, those aren't kids and they're not playing. I knew I had to get a building between the tank and me. Well, that was pretty easy. I was just 1 building away. But then what do? We had to find a good hiding place. So the 2 that were with me went to the basement of this apartment building, found a really good hiding place. I went up to the attic to see if I could find where the German fortifications were in case I got a hold of a radio where I could have notified our troops where they were. So we could have had a safer entry into that village. Well, I went back along this creaking floor of the attic to the space between the railings of the half flight down and the half flight back. I looked down and there's a German soldier with a burp gun listening. I don't know how he didn't hear me. I had a .45 automatic in my hand. I was a good shot. I could have killed him. But do I want to trade 3 of our lives for 1 of his? Nah, I backed up and waited. Finally, when he left, I went down and checked the basement. Didn't find them at all. But they let me know where they were. We hid under the basement stairs. We were there for several hours. I don't know how long. I knew that if they continued searching, they would find us. And that wasn't acceptable to me. So when I felt the time was right, we got up and left. They didn't see us. I don't know. Well, I guess I do know. God was good to us. We got out. The Jeep was gone. We couldn't go back the way we came because That was about a half a mile of open field. So we went farther into the village, and there's a Jeep sitting up on the hill. I told him to wait downhill a little bit. The Nazis had a way of booby trapping things that they felt we'd touch. And I figured the Jeep might be, and there's no reason for three of us to get killed. So they waited down the hill. I said, when I go past you, hop on because I won't stop. No, I would have stopped if necessary, but I wanted them to be fast. We got on, drove out of the village. The first vehicle we saw was an American 2.5-ton truck loaded with gasoline and water, which we needed. And it wasn't too long after that we rejoined our unit.